Hey there and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the functional training kneeling single arm rotational lat pull down. This is an incredible exercise for your lats, and you're going to be activating similar muscle groups to a traditional lat pull down, but in a different variation. So the first thing you're going to want to do is set up your cable all the way up to the top, the height of it, and then you also want to make sure that your rotation arm is at a 1. That way you're inside the machine and not in the middle of the gym floor. Then you want to make sure that you choose the appropriate weight. Start off fairly light and then slowly start to increase the weight every other week or so. Once you do that, get something like a pad that's pretty thick underneath your knees. That way you're comfortable. Keep your hips all the way in. Keep your core tight. Stay as upright as possible. And you want to be rotating the wrist as you're doing the pull down. So you're pronated at the top and supinated at the bottom. Also make sure that you allow your scapula to move freely. But before we continue, here's a word from today's video sponsor.
I'm today's video sponsor, and if you'd like help losing fat or gaining muscle, there are a few ways I can help you down below. Either set up a free consultation with us, purchase through one of our free affiliate links, or purchase one of our instant access affordable training programs. Can't wait to be of service to you. Now let's get back to the rest of the video.
And what I mean by allowing your scapula to move freely is allowing your scapula to actually elevate when you're going up, and as you're pulling the weight down, you want to make sure that you're allowing your scapula to depress and contract. So what you don't want to do is keep your scaps down, or keep your shoulder down if you want to think of it like that, and then do the lat pull down the whole time, because you're going to be missing out on muscle fibers that you're not normally going to activate. You need to allow that stretch to take place so that you can get even more range of motion to activate even more muscle fibers, and then as you're pulling it down, you're obviously going to contract your lats because that's what you're working. That's crucial. So really think about reaching for the ceiling when you're doing your lat pull down, and then think about driving your elbows to the ground. Now at some point it's obviously you can't go lower than that, meaning like if you pull down, you're going to be right underneath your chin, and you can't go really lower than that because your elbows can't go lower than that. You also want to make sure that you're not going too low, because then if you do, you're going to change the angle of the pull. So you basically, a tip that I like to use is keeping your forearm at the same angle as the cable. So once your forearms start to change angle, meaning that you're pulling so far down, your forearms start to point forward, that's obviously not going to be working your lats anymore. So just make sure you just go right down underneath your chin with your fist and then back up. You don't really need to go that much lower than that. Next thing I want you guys to think about is making sure that you're keeping your hips in. You don't want your hips back, because then you're going to start changing the angle also. Also make sure that your chin is straight, meaning that you're looking forward. So here are a couple mistakes that I want to make sure that you guys avoid at all costs. The first one is going to end up being leaning into the side that you're pulling down. So you don't want to be tilting the torso left to right. If you want, you can slightly twist as you're doing the pull down, but just from the torso, not to the side. Also make sure you're not doing half reps. So you don't want to be doing half reps at the top of the range, or even half reps at the bottom of the range. Just do full repetitions all the way up, all the way down. That way you can get the most out of this exercise. Another common mistake is keeping your chin up, meaning that you're looking straight up. You want to be looking forward. That way you're not placing any unnecessary stress on your neck. Next thing you want to do, and next thing you want to avoid, is sitting back into your heels as you're pulling down. You want to keep your torso as upright as possible, and the only way you can keep your torso upright is if your hips are forward and locked. So squeeze your glutes when you do it. And then lastly, you want to make sure that your scapula doesn't stay elevated like this. You want to make sure that you depress the scapula as you're doing the reps.